Hello and welcome to part 2 of the mental health mini-series. I hope you got something out of part 1. We talked about stress, we talked about sleep, we talked about how to build an evening routine, and then I challenged you guys to fill out the questionnaire on Instagram. Give me your best shot and put these steps into action. I'm really excited about the responses that we're getting. You guys are killing it. Mental health challenge, woo woo, here we go. I am so excited for you because really anytime that we put effort into healing ourselves or restoring ourselves back to a healthy state, it really shows our brain that we're taking the steps necessary to feel better. And when we prove to ourselves that we're doing something that's going to make us feel better and we're actually taking those steps to do it, we start to see this kind of amazing domino effect. It's one thing to stand in front of a mirror and tell yourself, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. And it's a totally different thing to give yourself a beautiful, wash your face and just, I love you, look at your beautiful skin, I love you. Or take those steps to actually getting sleep and prove it to yourself that you love yourself, that you're taking care of yourself, and that you're willing to take those steps. It really is one thing to have the knowledge, to read it, to watch the videos, to understand kind of what's happening, but then to put it into practice is where we're actually going to make those long-lasting, life-changing changes. Really, that's the only way we can do it. You can read 1,000,000 books on any topic, but until you actually take a step towards getting it done and making those changes for yourself, nothing is ever really going to happen, right? So this mini series is meant to kind of push you a little bit outside of your comfort zone and give you just a little bit of information on a couple of different amazing things that you can do to help really wrangle your mental health and get it into a place that you feel good and strong and worthy and capable. And I'm so excited for you guys. So on this video, we're going to be talking about food. And as a nutritionist, this is what most people come to me for. They say, Sharissa, how can you help me with my food? How can you help me with my diet? And I really want to go back to what I said in the very first video of this series, which was we have to get our mental health right. We have to get our mental state of, I want to be healthy. I want to know what it feels like to have energy and strength and to be able to do this every single day. And that comes from getting our mental health and our mindset right. But underneath that, we can do a lot of really amazing things using food as medicine, right? Hippocrates said, let food be thy medicine. It was our first medicine. And we've gone so far away from that because we want convenience. We live in this amazingly fast-paced society where we can get anything we want within 20 minutes. And if it takes longer than 2 days, then screw it. But seriously, this is what we've become, and that's okay. We just need to make these adaptive changes for ourselves so that we can adapt to the stressors in our environment because they're new for us. We are, as the human beings, are new to this fast-paced type of society, really only maybe 20, 30 years of being in this type of an environment. Before that, we had much more slower paced lives. And the more we push ourselves, the more stress we're having to deal with. And the more we see that mental health and mental illnesses are just kind of skyrocketing in society. And it's really become a huge, huge problem because there's no way to take care of anybody who's dealing with mental health problems. It's too much and it's too widespread, and not enough people are going to their doctors and saying, I'm feeling anxious or I'm feeling depressed. And even when we do, the answer really is only this kind of one-stop shop. Here's a pill that may or may not take these feelings away from you. And most of the time you're feeling side effects that are much more negative than even the depression or anxiety itself. At least that was my experience. I was diagnosed with anxiety, panic disorder, and depression when I was about 17 years old, and they started me on medications right away. The medications made me tired and made me gain a lot of weight and actually gave me more suicidal thoughts. So they made me much, much worse than what was actually happening in my body before I started trying to change things and alter things. In my 20s, I tried to gain control of my mental health using things like mindset and meditation and breathing and exercise and also food. And what I found is that when we heal our body from whatever traumas it's going through it with food, with allergies, and with inflammation, all of those things that are going on in my brain, the anxiety, the depression, the panic, all of that got alleviated and just kind of disappeared one day. And I realized, oh, I really haven't been anxious for a long time. I really haven't felt those feelings in a long time. And it gave me the tools to recognize and have control over my body again, which is huge. And that's just, I think, the most important thing that we can do for ourselves. So food can create either a really great environment in our body or a really hostile, hot, inflamed body. And I say hot and inflamed from inflammation. So eating things like sugar and refined foods like refined carbohydrates, breads, pastas, those kinds of things that turn into sugar in our body really quickly create a lot of inflammation in the body. And that inflammation can go anywhere in the body, and it creates pain and it creates problems in the brain, and it also can create a lot of issues with our hormone regulation. And when we're dealing with mental health, what we're really dealing with is an imbalance in our body's hormonal systems, our endocrine system. And by finding balance with the hormones, we can actually balance our mental health state as well. So food is really powerful, even in the mental health community. And we can do amazing things for our body by changing our diet. But you really have to want it and believe that this is something that can do good things for your body. The way I like to think about it, with every meal that I eat, I look at it as, is this going to give me the nutrients that I need and the energy that I need to get me to the next meal? Or is this going to take away from my energy and make it more challenging for me to get to my next meal? All the things that we eat, all the food that we eat, everything that we consume gives us energy or calories. Calorie equals 1 unit of energy. That's what calorie stands for. And the conversion rate is how much energy we get out of our food. And that's calories. Calories equal energy. And the way we can calculate that, or the way we traditionally calculated that, was calories in and calories out. So we have these meters that tell us you burned, 500 calories in this workout or whatever it may be. The problem is we don't often take into account the fact that it actually takes energy or calories to break down the food that we eat. So if you eat, say like a hamburger and French fries and a big milkshake, it actually takes energy for your body to break that food down and get it to the places that it needs to go. And oftentimes the foods that we're eating require so much energy to put those foods away that it doesn't actually give us any energy to use for the day. So instead of having this great meal that we are adding 500, 600 calories to our diet, we're actually adding a lot of a deficit. We're adding an energy deficit to our body, and it takes more energy for your body to break it all down and put it where it needs to go. So it's actually making you more tired, and it's taking away from your ability to deal with stress, to deal with the day-to-day, everything that you have to deal with, because your body is working too hard to break down that food. And this can come in all different ways. So it could be working too hard because it was an overload of protein. Maybe you ate like a huge steak or something and it took way too much energy for your body to break it down. So you just kind of had to rest until it was, done, or at least partially digested. But it can also come in the form of excess amounts of sugar. So if we're eating way too much sugar, which most of us do, and I'm guilty of this myself. I'm 9 months pregnant and I really only want cake and cookies and ice cream. Like, for real, that's all I want. That's not what I'm eating, but that's all I really want. And when we eat those things, it actually puts a lot of pressure on other organs in our body. So when we eat a ton of sugar, what happens is that sugar hits our bloodstream really quickly. But in order to protect our body from too much blood sugar, our pancreas then dumps a bunch of insulin into the bloodstream. Insulin is a hormone that attaches to sugar and takes the sugar where it needs to go to be used as energy in the body. But when you have too much of that insulin and too much of that sugar together, it actually becomes a toxin to the body, and it needs to be stored. All of that process, the process of the pancreas producing more insulin, the process of the insulin then binding to the sugar, taking the sugar where it needs to go, or storing that sugar in our fat cells, as it were, because that's protecting the body from the chemical toxin of insulin that's bound with sugar. And it's got to protect us somehow, so it stores it in our fat cells. So that's actually if we have a fat gaining problem, it's typically because we're eating too many of sugars too quickly and the body is having to store it to protect itself. But all of that is taking energy from the body. All of that is taking calories and using them for just digesting food, just getting it to where it needs to go. And so if you look at each plate that you eat during the day and you think about, is this going to give me the energy that I need, or is it going to take energy away from me? And then if the answer is that it's going to take energy away from you, you have to ask yourself if it's really worth it. Because for me, when I go out to eat, especially when I go out to eat, because then I'm seeing the number, right? That's when I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm paying somebody to take energy away from me. When I go out to lunch or out to dinner or out to breakfast and I pay for a meal that I know is going to make me feel bad, then I am literally paying to eat something that's going to make me feel crappy or that's going to take energy away from me. And then I'm doing it to myself, and that's got to be a form of abuse. I mean, for real, that's got to be a form of self-abuse. And it certainly isn't self-love, and it certainly isn't proving to your body that you want to be healthy or that you want to feel healthier. So it's no secret, I follow a paleo type diet where I eat mostly meat, vegetables, fruit, nuts, seeds, and very limited on my grains, very limited on sugar, no gluten, no dairy. That's how I eat to live my life without having any autoimmune symptoms. It also is the way that works best for my body and I feel the healthiest. That might not be the case for you. You might do better on a Mediterranean diet or a diet that has more grains and less protein. Everybody's a little bit different. That's perfectly okay. But really pay attention to what it is that you're putting in your body with that understanding that every single meal is either going to make you stronger or weaker. Every single meal is either going to give you energy or take it away from you. And every single meal is going to add to the healing process or that degeneration process. Because when you're eating the right amount of the right kinds of food that are good for your body, that are strengthening for your body, and you're getting a little bit extra sleep, you're working on the sleep training, and your body's able to restore itself all night, now we're talking about a really incredibly powerful impact on not only your mental health, but your physical health as well. And when you're feeling good and you wake up energized and you have energy from your meals, it's hard to feel anything but joy and excitement. So I hope that you are getting something out of this series. And today, I don't want you to forget to do your challenge. So go to your email, get your Instagram post, answer the questions, post them on Instagram. Let me help you, keep you accountable, because this is such an important thing that you're doing for yourself. And I want you to take this information and turn it into knowledge by making those actionable steps. And I can't wait to see you guys on the last video where we're going to be talking about stress. See you there.